Hello and welcome to The Connection Couch. My name is Reg Sorrell.
And I'm Jo Saunders, and in today's episode we're talking about content strategy.
Excellent content strategy, Jo, on LinkedIn.
Yes!
Let's talk about it because it's a new year, isn't it?
It is.
We're in February now.
I know, it's crazy.
So the whole year's in front of us. Now we've got to think about how do we approach content on LinkedIn.
Yes.
All right, so where do we start?
Well, if we look at the two places that content appears on LinkedIn, if we're talking about from a consumption perspective, so you've got the feed, and the feed content comes from either your profile or your page, and then you've got stories. Stories, yeah. Well, we'll talk about these in more detail, but stories are essentially temporary pieces of content that you can only consume on the mobile app at the very top that you sort of scroll through. They're often overlooked. You may even, I would love to know in comments, do you use stories? Do you consume stories? Are you sharing them? Yeah.
Keep going.
So that's the two places you're going to see content.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the types of content then.
Okay.
Because in the last episode we talked about a review and how to look over your content and maybe work out what's going well or what works for you, what types of content, who's engaging with you, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So we've done that. We've got a rough idea of what the types of content that works. Yeah. So let's talk about the types of content that you can see on your feed.
Yeah, okay.
Let's start with that.
Yeah. Now, just going back to the review, I mean, part of the review might have been that you've discovered you're not using a particular type of content. Now, you want to stick around to the very end because I'm going to share the hottest piece of content right now that you can share that's getting massive engagement. So hang around for that one. So in terms of content, you've got really four main types of content. You've got text, so text only. You've got images, you've got audio and video. So if we start with text, so text is the written word.
It's just written word, isn't it? That's all it is.
And text content can be short, it can be long.
Okay.
Now, people often say, does long work? Is long boring? Long works if it's interesting.
This is the thing. I get asked the same question when it comes to video. It's like, and everybody thinks shorter videos are better, which, as a general rule of thumb, it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah.
But if your content's good, it's entertaining, it's engaging, whatever it is, then the length doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you can hold someone's attention for 10 minutes, not that we recommend it, but then by all means, 10 minutes is great. But if it's only for 30 seconds, then still.
Well, actually, let's jump and talk about video because that makes sense now. So video is one type of content, and video is really hot as well. I mean, it's not the hottest type of content, but it is pretty hot in terms of, because video holds attention.
It does. Video
lets you consume the content in multiple ways. Now, not everybody, though, is listening when they're watching. So have you got a tip for this, Reg? How can you get people to consume your content if they're watching but not listening?
Well, the easiest way is probably subtitles. Or you can embed the titles in your video.
Yeah.
You can use square videos, so you can have your video in the middle section and you've got real estate top and bottom to have text.
Yeah, so that's a nice way to get people to watch it. Because I often watch video without sound on. And even if it's got captions, subtitles or not, I'll just watch it because I find it interesting. And then watch it for long enough. I don't lip read, and I haven't got some weird talent, but I just find it interesting to kind of read someone's body language first and get a feel for their energy, and then commit to actually turning on the volume. Because sometimes you're not in a position to listen. If you've got people around you haven't got headphones, that sort of thing. But video is a great part of your content strategy because video, people can get a feel for who you are. They can see you, they can hear you speak, and they can connect with you a bit better, I think, than text in general.
And it works really well for stop the scroll.
Yeah.
Hashtag stop the scroll.
Hashtag. Oh yeah, stop the scroll. Yeah, because people stop in the feed and watch a video. I know. Now on video, just a couple of things. So there's a couple of types of different video you can share. You've got the native video, which is the uploaded video, and you've got the linked video, which is video hosted on YouTube or Vimeo.
Correct.
Now LinkedIn changes things all the time. I love that about LinkedIn, particularly when it's mid-training. I know, yesterday half the group had the new thing, half that old thing, it happens all the time. Anyways, with YouTube video, it used to be that it was deemed as linked content and you had to then go off and watch it. And then they started having it playing in the feed, which was awesome because it almost acted like native video. They've gone back to it being a link.
Oh.
As far as, mind you, check it overnight, they might have changed it. But it is linked content, so you've got to keep in mind that you are taking the attention away from LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn do say that they don't penalize content that is linked, that you said, if you're sharing a blog or a video, whatever it is. But it comes down to the user. Now, if you're watching on mobile, particularly, you're scrolling down the feed, you've got to stop and hold their attention. But they're on LinkedIn. Do they want to click and go elsewhere to a different app that they've now got to open and maybe log into? YouTube, generally, you don't log in, but it just takes you to YouTube. But actually, that's a good point, though, because on the app, you're taken to YouTube. You're not logged in generally by default unless my settings are wrong. But then if I want to interact with that video on YouTube, I then have to log in and remember my details and all that. So there's a barrier. Whereas if you share the video as native on LinkedIn, the conversation stays on LinkedIn.
Yep.
What happens on LinkedIn stays on LinkedIn.
That's always the best course of action.
It is. And
most platforms are the same. They don't want you going elsewhere.
Yeah.
So if you upload any video, make sure, as we say, native. It just means uploading it straight to the platform.
Now, native to the platform, there are some recommendations, and Reg, I'll let you share those. But also there's some limitations as well. So if I want to share a half an hour video interview, and I want to do it natively on LinkedIn, I can't, can I, Reg?
No, you can't.
No. So what are your recommendations for content on video on LinkedIn?
Keep it short and sharp, essentially.
Yeah. So no waffle.
No waffle.
Keep your waffles on the plate with maple syrup.
Waffles for breakfast. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like probably 3 minutes max, I would say. People don't really give you that much time on LinkedIn newsfeed. If you do have longer content, then maybe share a little excerpt and then excerpt.
It's a word.
A shorter part of it.
I know what you mean.
And then direct them somewhere else so they can watch it somewhere, preferably on your website. Essentially, you don't know send them directly to YouTube or Vimeo. If you can have it embedded in your website, obviously you can benefit from the SEO that.
Oh, I like that.
Get them there.
Ninja tip, because it's I guess a real estate that you've got more control over as opposed to someone's rented land over there.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So short and snappy, to the point. And just I guess that people can consume in the feed, and captions or subtitles.
Subtitles, yeah.
Now, quickly remind me the difference between captions and subtitles.
Well, subtitles are the direct transcript of what's said in a video. Okay, so if you watch foreign films, you get subtitles on them.
Oh yeah.
Captions are more actual directions for hard of hearing. So people who are watching it but hard of hearing, there might be sound effects or something that goes on that they won't be able to hear.
Like pop, bam, wow, like the comics.
Yes, so that's the captions that will help with the actual viewing experience rather than just the text.
Okay, cool. So that's video. So I recommend looking at where video comes into your strategy. So comment below if you're looking at adding video this year. Now, if you don't know how to get started with video, we'll have many videos on this. But Reggie's the man, so follow him and ask him questions, and make sure you connect on LinkedIn because you share a lot of video tips, and they're really useful.
Oh, good.
I used to not be able to speak on video at all until I met Reg.
That's my fault, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, and now you can't shut me up. So that's video.
Okay.
So let's go back to text. So text only. So you've got save as video, short text and long text. Now, the way you write the text is key. Now, there are some trends, and don't fall for some of the trends. There's a thing called broetry.
Oh, really?
So broetry is long-winded text. I'm saying long-winded because it usually is. It's written like a poem. So there's a sentence, a line space, a sentence, a line space, sentence, line space. Looks like poetry. It's a bit gimmicky, and it's almost trying to game the algorithm, but you want to definitely put white space between paragraphs, but don't just keep it to single sentences because it looks weird and odd. Just don't do it. People don't like it generally. But if you're going to write paragraphs, make sure that they're not massive paragraphs. Break it up, white space. I've got a framework that I like to call the EQ plus IC squared framework. We'll talk about it in a future video, but it's a framework for writing your content, so have a look out for that, or ask me what it is. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. So move on quickly, move on. Right, so the next one is images. So images stop the scroll as well, because they're there really to complement your text. So you need text. You need the text to be written in an engaging way, and also a quick one with text. If you want people to engage with you, ask them to engage, ask a question. That's important. That's one of my IC squared kind of things. Oh, look, I've given a bit of it away.
What do you like?
I know. I'm such a floozy with my content. So images are not content in themselves. Sharing an image with a couple of hashtags that's not content. Images need some text because not everybody is going to get enough from the image.
Right.
You know, so images. So what kind of images have we got? Well, we've got photos, a single photo. We've got multiple photos. You can share up to 9 photos at once. Don't recommend doing that because it looks ugly.
Yeah, they look odd in this.
Well, they kind of look square and it crops them off. Yeah. So if you're in the photo and you're to the left or the right, you're cropped out and suddenly you can just see this blank chair, empty chair. It looks weird. So be careful with multiples. Infographics, so if you've got some sort of visual diagram, pie chart, referring back to last week, we love pie. Infographics is something you can use.
A quick question, infographics. I have one that I thought about putting on LinkedIn, but it's a very long, thin.
Oh yeah, the ones that you often see on Pinterest.
Yeah, one of those ones. Do they work?
Well, you can, but it's going to crop it.
Right.
So, that ties into my tip you need to hang out for. So I'm going to come back to that one. I'm just going to park that one. Yes, you can, but you need to rework it to make it effective. But there's really long infographics that, they just go well on Pinterest. Just change them around. So infographics, photos, what other kind of images could you share?
Oh, quotes. You know those
quotes, fluffy quotes. Yeah. Now, quotes, actually you don't see so much on LinkedIn anymore. You used to years ago. Quotes are good if it directly links to the content. Like it's a quote that summarizes the thing you want to say. Like if I'm putting a post up about personal branding and why you should be yourself, and I have a quote with Oscar Wilde. It's Oscar Wilde, isn't it, saying, be yourself, everybody else has taken that quote. But if I just put that quote and go, hashtag quote, hashtag love, hashtag Oscar Wilde, no.
Yeah, that's a bit Instagrammy for my
liking. It has to be relevant. It has to be, and any content, you need to be asking why you're sharing this anyway.
Yeah.
For what purpose does this derive? Does it match your brand? And are your audience going to be interested? Does it add any value to their life? Now, the fourth type of content we haven't mentioned yet is audio.
Yes, which is a part, there's a new app everyone seems to be getting on board with. And
if you're not on Clubhouse right now, I don't know where you're living, you must be under a rock. Exactly. We are in the cool crowd. We're already hosting rooms and whatever. Now, Clubhouse is a completely new social network. Well, I say new, it was new it was launched early last year and then sort of slowly moved along and then it just went big, like late December, early January, it just took off. And that's when I sort of joined early Jan. So it's an audio-only social network and you can talk to anybody. You can listen, you can speak if you want to. It's pretty cool. Now, the reason I mention that is it's great content for LinkedIn because audio is the overlooked type of content for LinkedIn. There's no way to embed audio. There's no native audio on LinkedIn.
No.
So that needs to come, native audio. So we have to use external tools.
So even for podcasts, if you've got a podcast, you can't, if it's less, I know video is 10 minutes, but I think it's really a lost opportunity. You want to be able to play the audio.
Yeah, so you've got to link to it once again. So LinkedIn is going to treat it like a linked post and the user is then going to have to click on it and go elsewhere. So it's the same with Clubhouse, the same with podcasts, any audio for that matter. And then you've got audiograms, which are essentially mini videos, like usually with a little moving, like an audio symbol, so you can see there's sound. Yeah, and then you've got the spoken word, but it's saved as an MP4 probably or whatever file, but it's saved in the feed as well, shared in the feed. So that's audio. So Clubhouse, the reason I mentioned that is, like I said, it's hot right now. People are sharing content on LinkedIn to promote their events, which are rooms. You host a room, you have a discussion on a very specific topic, so you can promote it on LinkedIn that way. So that's where audio comes in. Right. And then just to go back to video, one type of video we haven't talked about, we've talked about live video. Now LinkedIn Live is invitation only. You've got to apply, and generally you might have to apply a couple of times if they don't accept you, because you've got to be live streaming elsewhere to show that you do that. But live gives you massive visibility as well, but it's a little bit more, it takes a bit more setup. You've got to really think about it because it is live. Your professional network is seeing it. You can't go live on the platform directly. You've got to use a third-party tool. I use one called Streamyard, which I really love. But it's a bit more setup, and you want to be looking professional and organized, like I said. So, I mean, any video needs to be professional, but content video that's sort of lost in, not lost, but it does get lost eventually. You could create something on your phone on the fly, because it's not going to have that longevity. I mean, you can always refind it again, but you can be a bit more casual, but you still want it to be as high quality as you can, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, should we get to the hot type of content? Hottest.
What is the hottest type of content on Joe? And I want you to explain it to me, what it is and why it's so hot.
Hot. Now, the hottest type of content, it's linked to images, and your comment about infographics links in. So it's called document posts, and you may have seen it on the post update box. So on the box, you can see upload an image, upload a video, add a document. And a document is essentially a PDF document. And you might go, what's so hot about that? Now, when it first launched, people were sharing like A4 documents PDF, like a flyer or lots of text. And that's okay, but that's not really what it's designed for. Documents you can click on and expand so you can see the full view. You can actually download it as well. There's a download button. Okay. It's for accessibility, but people can download. But where the hot comes in is when you take an image, and an infographic is a perfect example because it's an image with lots of detail. So what you want to do, rather than having that long, thin infographic, if you cut it up into, say, small squares or landscape, depending on which view you prefer. But let's go squares. So you create a square image and you put it into a multi-page, almost like a kid's book. Like Mr. Men books, that kind of thing. Yep. Because they're square. Bright graphics, bit of text, but the text needs to be big enough to see and grab attention. And the more pages you can add that are interesting, it's got to be interesting, the more attention you're going to grab, the more you're going to stop the scroll. So people stop the scroll, they stop scrolling the feed, they hit your document post. Now you've got to have text with it that's compelling, obviously. Then you've got the document itself, which is a series of images with little arrows. So you can scroll through like a carousel. Now, if you've got 2 pages, that's not going to hold attention for too long. But if you can hold attention, you say your document's 10 pages or 20 pages, they're going to scroll through, and they've stopped on your post. Now, video does this somewhat, as long as people watch it. Mm-hmm. So when you stop the scroll and you get people sitting on your content, it impacts what's called dwell time. Now, dwell time is part of the LinkedIn algorithm. And the more people dwell on your content, the more chance they've got of seeing your content in the future. It's a positive indicator that they're interested. Mm-hmm. So document posts do that. Now, like I said, document posts could be, like I said, and think about creating a children's book of your content. So not many words, big bold words, bold graphics. You can use a tool like Canva to create them. You could do them in PowerPoint, Keynote, whatever your tool of choice is, Easil, there's so many different ones. The other thing you can do with document posts is, now I've talked about multiple images. Say you run an event, we run LinkedIn Local Perth together, and Pete, our photographer, it takes a whole series of photos. We could put them up to 9 photos and do a post about it, and they're going to look pretty average. We're not going to see Pete's work because they're going to be cropped. If we put those photos into a PowerPoint slide deck or Canva or Keynote, whatever it is, and we have multiple pages, so we might have 20 pages or whatever it is, and then we output it as a PDF, upload it as a document post, we've now created a slideshow that we can click through. So it's like click next, and in the text component, you might tag the people appearing in the photos, thereby inviting them to engage with you.
Excellent.
So that's the hottest type of content right now. And I'm going to add another one that's not as hot, and I wanted to mention it before in text, I completely forgot. Polls. Polls are another way to engage people and keep them on the feed, because not as long as obviously a document post or a video, but when you ask a question and you give up to 4 answers, people can quickly click. Now, you're not stopping them from moving fast, but you're actually getting them to engage. And polls are a really nice way of doing a bit of seeking feedback, seeking input.
Excellent. All right, so we've covered text, images, audio, video, and document posts, and that one you just threw in there, which
polls, which is a mini part of.
That's a lot.
I know. Value.
What should someone do? They should actually, if they want to work out what content, they need to have some sort of
a plan.
And a planner. So if you want to download your very own planner, there will be a link in the description below. Go to Joe's website, download the planner, and then you can work out the content for the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever you want to do. That'd be a good call?
It sure would be a good call.
Excellent. Thank you very much for watching. More nuggets like this coming out every couple of weeks. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching.
See you then.